I want to welcome you to District Court of Anne Arundel County. This is my office. This is where I get to work every day with my team. And I have a team that is here that I'm a part of, but it's part of a bigger team. You are here, I'm assuming, on a field trip. I tell you that because I'm a parent in this county and I have kids. I just came back from a field trip with my 5th grader. And I know on the field trip that I was there, we spent the night out in the woods for 3 days. We heard a lot of talking. And there was 40 boys, and I had 10 boys in a tent, and I talked to them every night. And they told me is that they liked the stuff that was hands-on. They got to touch and feel and do. And when I just talked and talked and talked and talked and talked, they ignored me. They didn't like that part. So I recognize that. You're here on a field trip. I want you to have fun today. I want you to learn today. I want you to experience today. But I want you to engage this entire team. And this is a big team. You're in this district court, but you're here from a school. And because of the teamwork that the Anne Arundel County Board of Education has with district court, we have this program today, and we're here together. And that's phenomenal in my eyes. I benefit from that program. I benefit from leadership that has allowed us to do this. I tell you that because those who are in charge of both the district court and the school board are here, not because I asked them to, because they believe in this program. They believe in what we do here. Believe in what we do with you and for you. And I hope you engage both the leaders from on high, because they're the ones who run this program, they're the smart ones, and us who are here every day in the trenches who do what we do in this building. Here on behalf of the school board is Dr. Arlotto. You probably should know him. I only know him because I have kids in the school system here. I had a chance to meet him, and I spoke to him, and we have the same passion, and the passion is you. The passion is making you better, giving you a chance to experience things, not just the books. I want you to be smart, but I want you to experience life and understand life and make great decisions. And Dr. Arlotto and I talked a couple times. We had lunch, and we talked about making good decisions. You're going to make a bad one or two. He gets that. That's his job, to understand that and get you over that. But he wants you to make good decisions. And because he believes in that, he comes to this program every single time we do it. We used to do it twice a year. We now have the benefit of doing it 4 times a year. With his help this year, we have every high school in this county come into this building at least once. That's a goal for us that we started 2 years ago. We're there now because of his help and his collaboration. And he's here today to welcome you on behalf of the school board. Dr. Arlotto, would you please welcome the students, sir? Absolutely. I appreciate it very much.
Yep.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So good morning. Really excited that you're here. And I am not offended at all the fact that you have no idea who I am, right? And that's okay, right? Certainly today I am the least important person in the room, right? And so I've got the least to share with you because there's Judge Spencer, as he's introduced himself, has sort of put this team together for you, about you. And I think you're going to find it really fascinating. So let me say a couple quick things. One is, this is an opportunity. One of the things that we really focus on in the school system, my job as the superintendent, I have Mrs. Hummer here, who's the vice president of the school board, Mrs. Pickard, who is a former school board member, and now she's the president of the countywide PTAs and representing parents here, is we talk about opportunities, creating opportunities for you. That's my job. Much of the opportunities we create, of course, are in the classroom, right? The day-to-day teaching and learning. But then there are opportunities if you're a thespian and you're into acting, or you're into writing and you're writing for the yearbook or photography, or you're into athletics, right? Whatever it is, we're trying to create opportunities for you, particularly opportunities beyond the classroom. And that's what today is. Today is one of those important opportunities that I want you to take a deep breath, sit and relax, and take it all in. Because there's going to be a lot coming at you. Right? I think you're going to, no question, you're going to laugh today. You're probably going to cry a little bit, but in the end, I hope you're thinking about what you're hearing, right? And as Judge Spencer said, the underlying tone about today is good decisions. So, as your teachers might say, let me do a little bit of pre-teaching, right? What's going on today? So you've heard from Judge Spencer. He's your MC, right? Master of Ceremonies. He's going to come and go throughout the day, throughout the morning, introducing things and talking to you and asking you questions and engaging you in today. That's what he meant about a field trip with your hands on, right? He's going to engage you in today. You're going to sort of go through some role play about how law enforcement works. Law enforcement is here today, and they're going to talk to you a little bit about. You are going to hear from a trauma nurse about students making good decisions when they're behind the wheel or with their friends. And that's emotional, and she's going to hear and she's going to talk to you today. And then they're going to go into, Judge Spencer's going to take a break, and he's going to go in the back room, he's going to put on his robes, he's going to come out here, and he's going to conduct 3 trials. 3 real trials that you're going to watch, okay? And we've got a prosecutor here in our state's attorney, and he's going to introduce himself, and he's going to talk to you a little bit. You're going to learn about how the court system works. And again, the underlying piece of all this is making good decisions. Because what this team has done, this team of adults, is they want you to get through high school and life safely. Right? That is the bottom line. I want you to have these great grades, and I want you to have all these choices when you leave Anne Arundel County Schools about what you're going to do with your life afterwards. We want you to be really well prepared, but you can't be really well prepared if you're not safe. And decisions that you make today can not only affect you today, but your friends and your families and your schoolmates, right? That can affect you today and into the future. And so making good decisions is about you and about the people around you. So take it all in, take a deep breath, settle in. I think you're going to enjoy the day. It's going to be a little emotional at times, but this is a team of folks that has been assembled, that has worked together carefully to present to you today because they care about you. There are people out here that care about you and your well-being every day. And so we're really, really excited to bring this to you, and I'm delighted that I get to join in. So thank you.
I failed to ask, and you probably think I'm crazy, but who's here? Annapolis, are you here? Where are you? My Panthers. Where y'all at?
Right here.
There y'all at. What class is here? Don't answer. Whose class is here? Mr. Jones? Miss Smith? Whose class? Who? What class is that? Criminal, what are you learning about? Tell me one thing that she taught you that you learned about already. Somebody tell me, please. Come on, help me out. Yes, ma'am. Tell me your name first.
Rights.
Your rights. What's your name, ma'am? Emily, good to see you. What rights do you have?
The right to remain the same.
You don't right now. I'm going to make you talk to me. That is a right you have. You could exercise it if you chose to. You don't have to. You know that, right? You can tell me anything you want. Wait, tell me a secret. Tell me something about her I don't know. Nothing? You say no thank you? You make my father proud. What else you all learning about? Please tell me. Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
Maria.
What are you learning about?
I learned about our rights in our school system versus our rights outside of school.
Awesome. We're going to talk about that today. We talk about a lot of rights in here. Judge Morrissey, do we have the right to remain silent in this courtroom all the time, sir?
You do.
We do. Weird. He's the boss, so I can't say no to him. I'd like to say no. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chief Judge Morrissey. He's the other half of this team that we put together in this courtroom today. Normally, the team up here on this side of the room, the adults, we work in this room. On this side, we work in this room. Everybody in what I call this our well, we do official business in here. We handle criminal cases and civil cases. We handle protective orders. We handle a variety of things. We process paperwork. We put paperwork in and out so you have things out there so you're able to read them and see them when they're filed with the court. And to have you in this building, we have to have permission, so we're paid by the taxpayers, and Judge Morrissey allows us, with the cooperation of Dr. Arlotto, to come in this courtroom 4 times a year, as I told you, and do things that we think is beneficial. In his eyes, just like mine, just like Dr. Arlotto's, he's just like me, Dr. Arlotto. Yes, is that correct? Is that right English? Me and Dr. Arlotto? We have children in this community, and he believes in this program. He's here to welcome you on behalf of the judiciary because he also is fundamentally and soundly believing that what we do here is important. Chief?
Thank you very much, Shane. I think Shane only got through 1 people. I heard Annapolis is here, right? But I know there's 2 other schools, Phoenix Academy. What class are you guys studying right now?
History and government.
Okay. And then who's the last class? Southern? Is that right? What are you guys studying? I almost tripped over the seat behind me. I forgot it was there. What are you studying? Criminal justice? I heard somebody's working on on classrooms outside the courtroom or outside the school. Is that right? Outdoor classrooms? Somebody working on that? No? Maybe you should, right? Isn't that a good idea to have class outside rather than inside? I'd like to do that with court, outside court, right? Today would be a very nice day to do it. So As Shane said, Judge Spencer said, I'm John Morrissey. I'm the Chief Judge of the District Court. And I'd just like to talk to you a moment about what we do here in the District Court and what the District Court is, and then give you a fact scenario, and then I'm going to turn you over to the fun part of it. I bet you're wondering, why do you think we have the chairs here today? Do you know? I'm not going to tell you because it'll ruin the surprise, but it may involve animals. So I hope you like dogs in handcuffs. So the district court is a statewide court system, okay? You're in Anne Arundel County right now. We have 2 district courts in Anne Arundel County, one here and one in Glen Burnie. And I have 32 other courthouses across the state. So we're all the way from Garrett County, which is the furthest west county that we have in Maryland, up in the mountains past Cumberland. It's 4.5 hours away from here. It's closer to Canada than it is to Ocean City, which I have 2 courthouses, one in Ocean City and one in Snow Hill down in Worcester County, all the way on the other side. Takes 6.5 hours to get from the courthouse in Wicomico all the way up to Garrett County. And what we do is we have a lot of different types of cases. We're a trial court. That's why you see this here in these counsel tables and the judge's bench. And we're going to try cases, and we try a lot of cases. We do over 2 million cases a year here in the district court throughout the state. And some of those cases are traffic cases, as you can imagine. Who drives here? Can I get a show of hands? All right, the rest of you guys gonna drive pretty soon? Everybody 14, 15? Who's 15? Taking driver's ed, that kind of thing, looking forward to driving pretty soon? I've got a 15-year-old. He's gonna take driver's ed over the winter. He turns 16 in April, and I'm terrified when he starts to drive. But I really need him to start to drive because he's got a younger brother and I need him to get places for me. So I'm looking forward to it and scared at the same time. So we do more than traffic though. We also do landlord-tenant. So if someone falls behind on their rent, right, they need to come to court. A landlord may take them to court, and then we have to decide who's right and who's wrong and whether the house is proper for them to live in the first place, whether they have the right licenses, those kind of things. And we do civil cases. Suppose somebody comes over and does work on your house, right, and they don't do a good job, and you decide they're not cooperating with you, so you need to come to the court to figure out who's right and who's wrong on it. And we do other types of civil cases, like a car accident case. In fact, one of our judges on the circuit court yesterday was hit by a motor vehicle as she was handing out election material. She's running for election. Unfortunately, she's in the hospital right now. And at some point, someone may have to figure out who was right and who was wrong in that car accident, right? And they'll come to our court and try that case. Large part of what we do, too, is criminal cases, right? And it involves someone that's broken the law or alleged to have broken the law. And that's what I'd like to talk to you about just for a moment today, because anytime a crime is committed, it's a conscious act by an individual to do something, right? And sometimes when I say conscious, I mean they're aware that they're doing it, right? But they may not be aware that they're breaking the law at the time. So let me give you one quick factual example, okay? Suppose you do drive and you're leaving out of here today and you're just gonna go home, right? But you have a taillight that's not working. And let's also say that perhaps 2 months ago you got a speeding ticket and you didn't do anything about it, even though you got something in the mail. You didn't want your parents to know that you got a speeding ticket, so you ignored the mail. You picked it out before your parents came. And let's say also that one of your buddies got in the car maybe a week before, and unbeknownst to you, he had drugs on him. He had marijuana, and he put the weed over in the side of the car. You didn't even know about it, but it's over in the panel over on the side of the car. Police officer pulls you out right here on Roe Boulevard, right? He pulls you over because he sees your taillight's not working, right? So what do you think he's going to do next at that point? What's the police officer going to do? Go ahead. Well, he's going to come up to your car and he's going to do what? He's going to ask for your license and registration, right? Then what's he going to do with the license and registration? He's going to run it, right? He's going to run it through his computer base, and he's going to see that you have a speeding ticket that you didn't come up for court, that you didn't show up for court for. And as a result, you didn't even know this because you probably ignored the letter when you got it home, but you have this suspension on your license. So now it's not just a taillight that's out on your car. Now it's you're driving on a suspended license, right? And so then the officer asks you, what's he going to do then? He's going to ask you to step out of the car, right? Step out of the car. He may put you on the curb. He may put you in the back of his cruiser, and you'll hear from police officers here today too. And so then he's going to take a look around your car, and he sees the weed over in the corner panel, right? Now all of a sudden it's gone from a taillight that's out to driving while suspended to possession of a controlled dangerous substance. Driving while suspended carries a 1-year, $1,000 fine. Although, is it still that as of October 1st? 6 months? Oh, that's 2017. It hasn't come in yet. If it's more than 10 grams of marijuana, it can be up to a year in jail and a $1,000 fine. So you decide that you're getting aggravated with the police officer. You don't like the way this is going down, right? You decide this police officer's not right. He has no right doing any of the things that he's doing. But the police officer's just doing his job, right? He can't ignore the fact that that your taillight wasn't working. He can't ignore the fact that you're driving on a suspended license. Otherwise, he'd lose his job. And you think he's going to lose his job because you don't like what's happening in the situation? That's not going to happen. I'm not going to lose my job just because people don't like what I'm doing, right? I have a job to do. I've taken an oath. This is what I have to do, and I'm going to do it. So you tell the police officer you don't like what's going on this, you're starting to aggravate him, right? Human nature dictates that he's going to get aggravated too. If you treat people kindly and with respect, they're going to treat you kindly with respect back. Typically, that's what normally happens. That's what I hope happens. That's the way I deal with things. If you treat them in a mean way, they're going to tend to respond in an aggressive manner. So you're not nice to the police officer. The police officer has a choice. He can either write you a citation and say, here you go, you're on your way. You know, you got to show up for court the next time, or else it's going to even get worse, because it just gets worse if you ignore things, right? Everybody knows that line. Or he can arrest you. And so because you've been kind of nasty to him, he's going to arrest you now. Now he's going to handcuff you and put you in the back of his cruiser. Where do you think he's going to take you then? What happens next? Do you guys know? Anybody? Let me try him over here.
Wouldn't they take you to like the local police station?
They could do that, but more likely what they're going to do is take you to the downstairs of this basement in this courthouse, because we have what are called commissioners that work here. Tammy Chester back here is our administrative clerk, but she used to be in charge of the commissioners here in Anne Arundel County before this job. And they operate 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, every single day, whether it rains or snows. Even in the blizzard this last year, they were in Humvees driving around from court to court, making sure that people, once they got arrested, were given their rights, right? So you're going to appear, first you're going to be taken to the lockup downstairs, and maybe, Shane, we can show them that at the end of the presentation. I don't know if we can. There may be, yeah, downstairs in lockup. There's prisoners down there right now. They're handcuffed in a cell with no windows, right? It's not a very pleasant place, but that's downstairs in this building, and you're going to be taken there and you're going to be put in that room until the commissioner comes free to have that hearing with you. And then you're going to be given the right to have an attorney or not if you want there for free of charge. And then you're going to go in front of the commissioner, and the commissioner's going to decide whether or not you're going to stay in jail until the trial date, or whether you're going to get to go back home to your parents, right? Again, you guys know this? You know how this works? This is kind of the nitty-gritty of how it works here in the court. I don't think a lot of people realize that. And so the commissioner then decides, all right, well, I'm looking, I see what they're supposed to look at is whether you're going to return to court and whether you're a danger to the community, right? And so the commissioner may say to themselves, well, I see you didn't show up for court the last time. Police officers put in his statement that you were nasty to him in the car, right? Even though you're supposed to ignore that, it comes into play. It does come into play. And that you've had drugs in your car, right? Even though you're claiming it's not your drugs, the commissioner is saying, well, they're in your car. How'd they get in your car? You know, thinking they're more likely than not your drugs, right? So that commissioner may set a bond on you in order to get out of jail. And we're looking at these issues in the judiciary. We look at these things to see whether we're doing it fairly or not. In fact, we're examining that very issue right now to see if we can make changes to that system so that it is more fair for everybody. But right now, that commissioner may set a bond on you, and somebody's got to pay that bond, right? Do you guys have $10,000? Anybody in this room have $10,000? I can assure you I don't, right? Well, we work for the government. I don't have $10,000 laying around. So what are you going to do? Do you think your parents have $10,000 laying around? I know my parents don't. They don't have any money. They don't have $10,000 to drop on me to get me out of jail, right? So you may very well sit in jail for the next 30 days until your trial date gets up. And what happens to homecoming? You guys gone to homecoming yet? Already? My son goes this Saturday, homecoming. He's going with a friend that's not his girlfriend. Right. It's even though he hangs out with her all the time, and but it's good. He's very excited about going. He's looking forward to it, and I'm nervous as a parent. Right. I want to make sure he makes good decisions, that he doesn't do something wrong out there that could end him in this type of situation. I won't keep going with it, but you can see where it goes. And you're going to have to get an attorney, right? You can get a public defender if you don't have enough money, but you may want private counsel. That's what both Shane and I used to do before we were judges, right? You know what I'd charge for something like that? It'd be probably $1,500 to $2,000 to come to court with you on something like that. And then we appear in court, and in all likelihood, you're probably going to have to plead guilty, right? Or you're going to have a trial to see whether you're guilty. I say you're probably going to plead guilty because you are guilty. You're driving on a suspended license. There's really not a whole lot of defenses. You didn't show up for court, and they failed to appear you, and you got a suspended license as a result, and there's really no excuse for it, right? So you want to make sure that you have those things in line, right? You don't want to ignore these court notices and things like that. And then you have a trial, and the judge may put you in jail then, right? And then you're going to miss things like homecoming. You're going to miss going to school. You're going to miss, you guys have jobs. Anybody have jobs? You're going to miss, going to your jobs. You're going to get fired from your job. And then you're going to get a conviction on your record, right? And that conviction could possibly stay with you for the rest of your life. So in order to get my job, I had to get approved in order to pass the bar. In order to become an attorney, you have to get approval of a peer review committee. And they look at your criminal record. And had I had a criminal record, in fact, there was just a recent case where an individual did have a criminal record, and they were denied admission to the bar, so they can't be an attorney after going through 3 years of law school. And then you imagine to become a judge, right? They're going to look at my criminal record to see if I have any criminal record, and I wouldn't be able to be a judge. The governor wouldn't have appointed me if I had a criminal record, right? And then suppose you're going for a job, and I've got one candidate, because I hire more than 2,000 people that work for me here in the district court. And I'm looking at them. If I have one person that has a criminal record, and I have another person that doesn't have a criminal record, who do you think I'm going to hire? I'm not going to take a chance on someone that has a criminal record. I'm going to hire someone that doesn't have a criminal record, right? So my point in all this is that you need to be very careful about what you do. It's the little things that matter in life. It's not ignoring when you have a tail light out on your car, because you're going to get pulled over if you have a tail light on your car. It's just a matter of time, right? Get it taken care of. Make sure if you get a court date notice, hopefully you won't ever get a court date notice, right? Can I get heads nodding? No, yeah. No court date notices. You don't want to come to court. It's not a fun place. There's only 3 occasions that court's a nice place to come: marriages, naturalization ceremonies where people become U.S. citizens, and marriages. Did I say marriages already? Yeah. Adoptions. So adoptions. Everything else is a bad experience in court, and that's what we have to deal with. I almost tripped again. One of these times I'm going to end up on my back. So make the right decisions. You're going to be faced with these kind of decisions. You're going to be going to the prom soon, and you'll read about some people from Montgomery County that did 100 miles an hour, ran off the road and hit a tree, killed himself, killed his best friend. One guy's paralyzed for the rest of his life. These all start with very small decisions, right? They start with decisions that are things like, I'm not going to replace the taillight in my car, or I don't think that going 100 miles an hour is that big of a deal, right? Well, it is. If you read anything about stats in cars and momentum and physics and things like that, that when you go 100 miles an hour, your reaction time is cut in 1/100th of the time that it normally takes to make decisions, and that your car is much more likely to go airborne if it leaves the roadway. Your ability to judge distance is impaired because you're moving so fast, because you're not used to going that fast all the time. And it results in fatalities almost 100% of the time when you're involved in an accident going more than 80 miles an hour. So keep all those things in mind. You're going to see some wild stuff here in a few minutes, and I won't delay it anymore. It's pretty interesting. I love this program. I think I'd like to, my hat's off to Judge Spencer and to the school board for allowing us to do all this. It's been a great success. I think you'll walk out of here hopefully saying, this is really what happens in court sometimes, and I better be careful because I don't want to be here. It's not a good place to be unless you want to come work for us. If you come work for us, it's one of the greatest places I've ever worked in my life, and I enjoy every single minute of it. So enjoy the rest of the show. Again, thank you to all the staff and everyone that's here today to put this program on, and I hope you enjoy the afternoon. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I promise you we're going to do some hands-on. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to have a little bit of fun now. Southern, you're over here somewhere. Who's your teacher?
Brace, Mr. Brace.
Mr. Brace? And Tell me what you're learning about. I'm sorry, tell me your name again.
Gavin.
I'm Shane. Good to see you, bro.
Nice to meet you.
What are you learning about? You have two phones?
No, I'm just holding it for somebody.
Oh. For who?
Her.
Can I see it? Can I hold it?
Sure.
Can I hold it? Yeah. All right, let me see. That's cool. That's cool. Thanks. What are you learning about? What are you learning about?
Due process.
Due process. Like what?
Your rights.
Like rights? Like I heard when you come in here, you're gonna plead guilty right away, aren't you? Just say yes. She said no. Do you know her?
Yeah.
You must. You have her phone. Is that your friend that's not a girlfriend, bro? Judge Morsi has one of them. A friend, his son has a friend that's not a girlfriend. My son has one of them. He FaceTimes her every single night, dude. I'm like, how old is your brother?
He's 13.
Yeah, my son's 14. That dude's on this thing every night. I'm like, is that your girlfriend? Homecoming is this weekend for him. You going with her? Nah. Who you going with? My buddies. Is she one of them? No. Is that your girlfriend? Is that your man? No? What's your name? Taylor? Taylor, do you know him? Yeah. He has your phone. What's on your phone? Nothing. Can I look? Yes. Oh, my Lord. We'll get back to that. What are you learning about? Help me. I want you to go back. I want you to get an A when you get back and have a quiz or something. Tell me what you're learning about.
It's like your rights.
What right? Like rights to remain silent? I heard someone say that. Can I look at your phone? Yeah. That's consent. You give me consent, I'm going to look at it. What's in there?
Nothing bad.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Annapolis, where y'all? Y'all over here? Tell me, not the rights. I know about right to remain silent. Tell me something else you're learning about in your class. Help me out. Ladies, help me out here. What are you learning about? Nothing? Yes, ma'am. What's your name? Shakira. Shakira? Say it again.
Shakira.
How are you? You heard that, Creek? Yep. All right. That's Mr. Creek. His job is to run this courtroom. He came and got my ear. What's wrong, Creek? He said, look at her over there. I'm like, oh, that one. What were you learning about? Like what? Tell me, not other than right to remain silent. I'm sorry, I hear you. Tell me. Tell me. My dad would say, you said something. What do you say?
I said everyone's saying that.
Say something different. Tell me. I don't know. I'm not in your class. Yes, ma'am.
Learning about what the police can and cannot do to you.
I love that. I love that. They can do anything they want, right? No, they can't. Can I do anything they want, Miss Holly, Mr. Karad?
Certainly not, Your Honor.
Why?
For your constitutional protection.
Oh, my Lord. Mr. Adams, why can't they please look in this car if they want to look in the car? The car's here.
Depends. They can see anything they want in plain view. It just depends on how the circumstances arise.
I saw some hands there that said y'all drive. I think you raised your hand. Did you raise your hand? Did you raise your hand? Yeah. You got a little brother. Want to go for a ride with me?
I don't know.
Why? I'm cool. You know what? You can drive my car. Come on, man. Let's go for a ride. Come on, come here. Help me out. Help me out. What's your name?
Nick.
Nick. What kind of car do you have?
I have a Honda Elantra.
It's better than my car, right? Nick, you're going to be my driver. Let's go for a ride, bro, all right? Nick, get in my car. You can drive my car. What's wrong? Nick has to go for a ride. He has to have a steering wheel. Anybody know Nick over here? You know Nick? Wanna go for a ride with Nick? Wanna go for a ride with Nick? Let's go for a ride. Come on. What's your name? Kobe. Kobe. Yeah. My man Nick. Get ride with Nick. All right. Do you know Nick? No. You want to be a front seat or back seat passenger? Up front. Nick, Kobe, Nick. Y'all should say hi to each other. That's cool. Anybody else want to go for a ride with Nick, Kobe? Uh-oh. I see hands now. What the heck? Hold on. Y'all go to like homecoming together. Y'all know each other? What's your name? You play soccer for them? For Annapolis? Yeah. Are y'all any good? Yeah. How good? Undefeated? When do you play again?
We play today and Friday.
Where today?
Home.
Right down the street? Just more. Where's the boss go? Can I go to this game? I want to leave a little bit early.
I'll be there. No.
I try. You want to go for a ride?
Yeah.
Tell me your name again.
Giannis.
Good to see you, Giannis. What do you play?
Today,
What position do you play?
defense.
I like that. It's in my genetics. That's what I tell my son. Anybody else want to go for a ride with him? What the heck? What's your name? Yes, sir. Come here, James. We'll go for a ride. Do you know them? All right. What the heck? This is killing me. Nick, what kind of music you listen to? Country?
No.
Mozart? Rap?
I listen to a little bit.
A little bit of rap? Like who? Tell me like who, man? Some DMX. I said DMX. He said who? Whoa. Let me see. Yeah, tell me some new guy rap. You know Snoop Dogg? You know Snoop. Everybody knows Snoop Dogg. You don't know DMX. Tell me some rap you listen to. Who you listen to, Kobe? I don't know. Try me. I got kids. I'm hip. I'm cool, man. I'm not gonna tell you a lie. In my truck, my windows are blacked out, and I got my music pumping. I'm right down the street. You know why? Because I don't want them to look at what I'm doing in there. Driving. Who you listen to? Oh, Sylvester Shabazz. Who you listen to? I don't know. Don't tell everybody my secret. Who you listen to? Anything. Let's play some music. You have to have music when you ride down the car, right? All right. All right. It's country. It's your car. You're driving. Can you get McKay? Anybody want to be a law enforcement officer when they grow up? You want to be a cop? Come here and talk to me about that. What's your name? Come here. Sasha. To be a detective, you got to be an officer first. Like the police academy, you know that, right? You got to be smart. I'm Shane. Come and see me. Officer McKay, this is my friend Sasha. Sasha, it's Officer McKay. She wants to be like you when she grows up. She wants to get a job and come work in law enforcement. Are you watching the road? Come on, man. Pull the car over. Can you do that? Look, man. Look, can you do it? Can you do it?
I think so.
All right. You gotta watch the road. Officer McKay, I see this dude like this swerving and whatnot.
I'm staying on you on back seat.
Oh my Lord, he's backseat people. What happened? You get Sasha, you get it? Oh, look what happened. Look what happened. Look what happened, Nick. Woo! Now what you gonna do? Pull over.
All right, I'm doing it.
Slow.
All right. How you guys doing? Good. I'm Officer McKay, Nassau Police. You know my coach over?
I don't.
You know what neighborhood you guys are in?
I don't.
You don't? This is a really high crime neighborhood. What are you guys doing down here tonight?
Going for a stroll.
Going for a stroll? You guys a little lost? Are you? You don't look at them, look at me. You're the one driving.
Yeah, we're a little lost.
You realize we had a shooting here last night, right?
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
No?
No? All right. Do you have any identification on you?
Yeah.
All right. Where is it?
No, I don't actually. No, nothing.
All right. How about you? Any on you? No? How about you?
Yes, I do.
You do? You? No? There's only one person in this car has ID on him, huh? Let me see your ID. All right. Driver, step out. Step out of your car and talk to me here.
Try not to hit the traffic.
Step back here to me. So where you coming from?
Where am I come from?
Yeah.
Southern High School.
Southern High School?
Yeah.
All right. Where were you on the way to? What are you guys lost for?
We were just going for a stroll.
You just happen to end up in this dead end neighborhood that.
Yeah, GPS wasn't working right.
No. So I'm going to be frank with you right now. Are you down here to buy drugs tonight?
No, we're not down here by drugs tonight.
No?
No.
Not down here to buy drugs tonight? Whose car is this? Is it your car?
Yeah, it's my car.
It's your car? All right. Is there anything in this vehicle that shouldn't be in this vehicle?
No, not that I know of.
No?
Yeah.
All right. You mind if I check it or anything?
No, go right ahead.
All right. All right, stand. Come have a seat. Matter of fact, come have a seat over here for us. So you give me permission to check this vehicle, right?
Yep.
All right. Anything on you that shouldn't be on you?
No.
No? All right, I'm going to check you. Turn around for me. Hands up. Put your hands behind your head, actually. Just like that. Spread your legs. Wide. Wide. Wide.
Yeah.
Is it Taylor's?
I mean, that's so easy.
Have a seat. Yep. See the curve. Go sit down. Put your legs out in front of you. Just cross your legs. Patrick, step out to me, please. Step out to me. You have anything that should be on you? No? All right. Turn around and shake you. Put your hands up. Your hands up. Step away from the front. All right, so have it next one. Sit just like that. Step out to me. Do the same thing. Step back to me. One step back right here. Another. All right, go ahead and have a seat next to your buddy. Last batch when you step out. All right, you have a seat next to him.
Officer McKay, K-9's on scene. You still need assistance?
Yes, you can send him in, please.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Ah, good boy. Good job, buddy.
Trooper Foss, you're
Yes, sir.
making an alert.
That is. That would be a positive alert. Euro found his ball here.
Ladies and gentlemen, my friends from Southern Annapolis and Phoenix, you just saw Officer McKay effectuate a stop on this vehicle. That means he stopped the car. You just saw him pull out your 4 friends. You saw him search all of them. Trooper Foss showed up, and we just did a sweep of that car. We call it a sweep. I'm going to call it a search of that vehicle. Trooper Foss told me he made an alert on that vehicle. Now, Nick told me we could get in the car. Are you going to look just in the trunk? No. Yeah, Mr. Adams, I want to look in the whole car, in the glove compartment, under that tire back there. May I look back there too?
Yep.
Ms. Corral, you okay with that?
No, Your Honor, I'm not.
Why?
I think it exceeds the scope of the search at this point.
Right now, I have 2 lawyers. One on this side, Mr. Adams is state prosecutor for Anne Arundel County. Mr. Corral, public defender over here from Anne Arundel County. He says no. He says yes. Someone has to decide. But right now, Trooper Foss with Officer McKay are on the street. Euro made an alert. You gonna search?
Yes.
They're gonna search. Will you search that car for me, Officer McKay? See if you find anything in there. I'm not taking your ball. Oh my Lord. What'd you find?
No. Phone's back here on the floor. Which phone is this? What's this? No? Nobody's phone? No? What's it down here for? Huh? One of us put it there?
Was he riding your car? So he found a phone. I want to tell you that Officer McKay would also look in the trunk of that car. And for our purposes today, I'm going to tell you he found some drug back there. And it looked like, well, I'm going to look, let me see. Looks like it's like 20, 30, 40 grams of some. 50? 50. 50 grams of marijuana.
I'm good with that.
50 grams of marijuana. We have 4 passengers. We have 1 ID. I don't know whose car this is. Officer McKay, Trooper Foss, who are you going to charge now?
All 4.
All 4. All 4.
All 4.
And they're probably going to charge him all for just the driving erratically. We'll call it reckless driving, and probably charge him maybe just no ID on their person and simple possession, right? Just a misdemeanor, right?
No, over 10 grams is still a criminal.
And this is like
offense.
50, so that's probably like just.
That could be possession with intent.
Oh my Lord, felony.
That's a felony.
Mr. Adams,
Yes.
Officer McKay found 50 grams of some marijuana back there, a phone, and no one wants to claim it. Now what happens in your office?
Well, we're going to figure out who the phone belongs to. We're going to contact that person, see if that person's phone was somehow removed from them or whether that phone rightfully belonged in that car. When we find out it didn't, we probably will have a theft. What's that, an iPhone 5, 6?
6.
We'll have a theft under 1,000 charge.
Trooper Foss, this phone mean anything to you with that marijuana back there?
Well, with felony possession with intent to distribute, we're going to seize that phone.
You're gonna keep it.
We're going to seize that phone, and we're going to get a search warrant for it, and we're going to get all the information off of it.
Ms. Holly, we want to look at this phone. You're okay with that, right?
No, certainly not.
Why?
Can't go into the phone without a warrant.
A warrant?
Yeah.
Well, you really have no standing in that phone, Ms. Holly, because that phone doesn't belong to any of these 4 guys. So.
Let's play nice. We need a warrant. Judge Morrissey, this phone was found near 50 grams of marijuana. We don't know the occupants' names or addresses. We don't know who the phone belongs to. And that all that marijuana is back here. And Mr. Adams' office wants a warrant, sir. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. They're calling your house.
I used the new warrant system. I agree with that.
Yeah, we don't.
So now we have a new e-warrant system. He's not getting out of his bed. He's gonna go to his computer and his laptop, type up the warrant, sign it. Now I got a phone. Now we're gonna get in it. Can I look in your phone, man? Can I look in your phone? Is this too easy? Can I look in your phone?
No.
No?
No.
Why? It's off? Oh, Mr. Adams, do you have somebody in your office who can get into these things? Like turn them on?
We can turn them on. We can, if we can't in our office, we can send them down to Secret Service, or we have a number of agencies that'll help us get into phones.
You're
I'm a nice guy. I won't even give it to him. She says no, we get a warrant from Judge Morrissey. Now they're in this phone. And by in, I mean looking at it. And by that, I mean downloading it. By that, I mean seeing what's in it. Problem for anybody? Besides Ms. Holly and Mr. Carrag? Yeah, I can see that. Skip the legalities of it. Skip the legalities of it. Ms. O'Day, you have my phone? Yes, sir. Yeah. On my phone are pictures of my kids, my parents, my dog, homecoming, first day of school. I like this man a lot. I like him a whole lot. But he didn't see my kids, does he? No. Can I see your pictures? Why? Privacy? What are you hiding from me? Your pictures? Can I see your pictures? I like that answer. That means nothing on there. Mr. Adams goes down to the high schools a lot. He talks to your parents. And what he's going to tell you momentarily is that, well, you don't want to know what he tells them. But what he tells them is what I do now. I come home about once every other day and I say, Shane, that's my son, give me your phone. And I get in his phone, I look at it. And I'm in his Instagram. I'm all up in his tweets and his texts. I'm in his pictures.
In his browsing history.
And then I walk over here and I say, Miss Holly, what is that little picture right there? And she tells, I don't even know what it means. But I make my son give me his password and I'm in his phone. And I'm looking at it. You know why? Someone tell me why. Why?
Because you as a parent.
I love that boy. You know it. I love him. It's my man. It's my only. That's not my only. My oldest. I'm in his phone. I don't want to know what's in his phone. Well, actually, I want to know. I don't want you to know. I don't want what's in his phone out there in the world. So, Mr. Adams, we should just. Can I look on this phone?
Yeah. You got a warrant.
Power this joker up while you talk to them for a minute. How do we turn it on? What? What's wrong, Taylor? You sweating? You sweating? You should probably hire a lawyer. You want to hire a lawyer? All right, I'm going to give it to your lawyer. You okay with that? I won't look. Yet. I want you to think back now for 2 seconds. 4 choices made. 1, Nick got in that car. He has no idea the car was. It's my car. He doesn't know what's in that car. Apparently I got weed in my car. 2, a man got in the car, not knowing Nick. 3, Giannis may know him, doesn't know Nick. 4, James doesn't know none of them. And apparently Nick can't drive too well. I'm not minimizing Nick's driving skills, because you know what? I was once 16 too, and I was a horrible driver. Ask my daddy. He'll tell you. You want to ask him? You want to ask him? You don't believe me? Daddy, was that a bad driver? Well, I'll turn it around. You think he's here? Daddy, was that a bad driver? Was that a bad driver? Yes, sir. When you were 16. See? That's a surprise to me, too. See, I'm here. I work here every day. And I tell people who are in this courtroom, my dad pops in to check on me and make sure I'm doing things right. He's here today. I didn't invite him. My mother's over there, too. I didn't invite her either. This is where I work. I don't go to his job. He cares, I guess, about you and about what I do. I was a bad driver. I get that, Nick. That's okay. We can get better at driving. But we made 1, 2, 3, 4 bad choices. Austin McKay's now in this man's pockets. I got his grenade. What's this, like 12? Trooper Foss now here with Euro, and we searched that car. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Your bottom is on the concrete. And here, he didn't do it. He's nice, not in cuffs, but normally you're going to be in cuffs. Why is that, Officer McKay? Oh. Oh, man, see? See? Normally you're in cuffs. Trooper Foss.
Sir.
Euro made an alert.
Yes.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the back, I don't know if you saw, did anyone see Euro alert?
I'm fresh out. They're in my truck.
The answer is good. No one
You
said
got
yes
yours,
back
right?
there. Trooper Foss, how would Euro alert? Oh, I see you, man.
Euro would, when he detects the odors that he's trained to, he would give a certain amount of behavior changes that I am trained to read, and then he would give a final response, which is a sit.
Now, you all in the back didn't see it. In your front, you saw Euro, and I think you saw him walk in here. He walked around, came back, and went backwards. Trooper Foss was delayed coming here. I didn't say you were late. He was delayed coming here. He's working. He's volunteering his time here to be with us on a day off. He's off on the shift, but his shift is later. Normally he has a training device. It's drugs, and we put it in the car. And Euro would alert. You'd see his full-on alert. And his full-on alert is a sit. You would see him sit his little bottom down right here next to wherever he found something. You didn't see that back there, but he found what he wants. That's his toy, his Kong. That's what he wants. That's his, what is that? What is his Kong?
That's his reward. That's what he's trained. That's his reward for doing his job. When he detects one of the 7 odors and gives me that final response and his behavior changes, that's what he gets.
So we're crystal clear, what odors can he detect?
Marijuana, hash, heroin, black tar heroin, cocaine, ecstasy, and meth.
And he can detect less than 10 grams or more than 10 grams of marijuana.
He doesn't know how many. As long as the odor's available, it's there.
He can sniff, he can't count. All right?
Judge Spencer.
Sir?
Can I ask Trooper Foss a question?
Sure.
How does he know? How does he know what? I mean, there's all sorts of scents floating around. How does he know that it's marijuana or black tar heroin or?
Well, these are the odors that he's trained for. You know, dogs' noses are a lot better than ours. Obviously, it's one of the reasons we use them. You know, there's millions of different scents in everybody's vehicle, but Euro is able to throw out scents that he doesn't need. The best way we like to describe it is when you guys go home and your mom's cooking and she's making like a beef stew or something. You guys go in the kitchen and you smell beef stew. Well, when Euro goes into the kitchen, he smells the carrots, the celery, the broth, the meat, and everything's separate. He's able to, as good as his nose is, to throw out scents that he doesn't need so that he can focus on the scents that he's trained for.
You mean so like all those pine trees that are hanging in the?
Yeah, that just makes it easier for the dog because it's more odor. It's a lot of odor that they can throw out faster.
How about when they put it in the back, in the trunk in a plastic Ziploc baggie in a duffel bag underneath the tire, and they put the trees on top of that.
As long as the odor is available for the dog, he will be able to smell it.
And friends, I want you to understand that this is someone said earlier, this is our mock car, but your cars are all hunks of metal.
Hey.
Windows up, doors shut. Euro's not in your car. He's walking around your vehicle. Around your vehicle. And he still makes an alert. They're still going to search. Now, Ms. Holly made a good point to me earlier, and she said, she didn't think the stop was good. Let's say it took Officer McKay 5 minutes to speak to everybody, and Trooper Foss got here an hour later. You good with that?
No.
You're not?
No.
How about an hour and 5 minutes?
No.
Still not good. Are you still going to search?
Are we?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're going to search anyway. At some juncture, and this is part of your class and discussions, at some juncture, that search by the officer, is it a good search or is it a bad search? Is it constitutional or unconstitutional search? Is it violating their rights for getting in that car? Took him an hour and 5 minutes to get here. Mr. Adams, hour and 5.
Probably not going to
I
be a good
appreciate your
search.
candor. The answer is no. Because he's going to stand up and say, Judge, well, it took him because he had traffic on 97, there's an accident at the triple split, and he was there as fast as he could, lights and sirens, and Mr. Crowd, what are you going to say?
No, still no good reason.
It's an hour and 5 minutes. They're sitting there doing nothing, in the cold, in cuffs on their bottoms, doing nothing.
Not a good search.
Some judge probably going to say, good or bad search? It's a bad search. You know what? Drugs, they go away. He suppresses it.
Doesn't matter though. They still spent the night in jail. You guys still spent the night in jail. Still hired a lawyer. Still came to court. Still
Don't get your drugs back.
don't. Yeah.
You don't get your drugs back, and more importantly, Officer McKay now knows your name, your address, where you go to school. He's going to be hanging out in your neighborhood a little bit more now. Looking for y'all, see what y'all doing. Just for fun. Choices. Y'all still in cuffs? You want to tell me your name now, or what? Where you live? Tell me something.
No.
Whose drugs are they?
Lawyer.
Now Kobe said he should be the driver. It doesn't matter. They're all getting charged.
Yep.
Yes, sir. I'm listening. Tell me. This car? Mr. Adams,
Yes.
young Colby said that we couldn't search this car on this given night without a warrant. Mr. Crowd, you agree with that still?
Unfortunately, Your Honor, Nick did give the officer consent.
Let's assume Nick didn't give consent.
Let's say you said no. Let's say you said no. And the dog walks around and the dog sits right here where you were sitting. Can I search it now?
No, you have the right to search that person because that's where he was sitting.
Fair. Mr. Adams,
Yeah.
James says, assuming this is a car that has 4 doors and windows, they're all up, and Euro got there in 10 minutes, let's say 10 minutes, call it 30. 30 minutes, Euro sat by Colby and not James, and we can search just Colby and not the car.
No.
Hold on, stop. Before we get to the lawyer, let's ask Officer McKay, what are you going to search?
We're going to search everyone in that car.
And the car?
And the car.
In the trunk.
And the trunk.
And I saw you pat him down. When you found that 50 grams of marijuana, are you going to search them all over again?
Yes.
Y'all good with that? The answer she's going to say is, yes, she knows it has to be good with that. Mr. Adams, why is that?
Because once we find the drugs, it's all probable cause. Then we got what we call search incident to a lawful arrest. And they're all going to be arrested now. We have like a probable cause, the minimum standard of of culpability, of guilt. That's the minimum standard. So it's just a reasonable suspicion to believe that they're all involved in this. And we've got evidence of the drugs in the car. Hang on. I know you want to ask a question. None of them have said whose drugs it belongs to, but even if they did, they're still all going to get locked up.
Not locked up and locked up and charged. And you heard Judge Morris tell you, you're going to go to the commissioner on the felony charge, that weight of marijuana. Your bond's not going to be go home to your mom and have a good night that night. It's not going to happen that way. And I mentioned it's a felony charge of distribution. That's going to sit there for a minute and not feel good. And then Officer McKay is going to go, Dr. Olado, we have 4 students charged with PWID. That's possession intent to distribute drugs and felony. Now what are you going to do?
Where are you going?
They're going to go somewhere else. Because when they're charged and convicted, Dr. Olado has to take action.
You don't?
He's probably going to have you suspended or expelled. I don't know. Distributing drugs is not probably a good thing. And maybe he says, you know what, that's criminal justice system. But you know what, then you got to tell your mom and your dad. That phone called your mom and dad. How's that going to go over?
It's a great question.
No? Any parents here?
Wait, Judge
Go ahead.
Spencer?
Any parents here? Hold on 1 second. Sir, what's your name? Yes, sir. Mr. Thompson, this is Judge Spencer, and I just released I have your son in front of me because I'm doing bails late at night because I'm volunteering my time. And he was charged with possessing drug distribution. He had 50 grams of marijuana. You laughing? You know why he's laughing? That boy's gonna get wore out.
Shane,
Sir,
would you let him ask a question?
you have a question?
That's a good question.
So how can y'all bring the dog search the car? Y'all don't have to search the car.
How can I bring a dog search the car if I don't have a warrant?
So if y'all, like, how can we bring the dog?
Well, first question is, Trooper Foss, is that dog going in that car?
No. So the air is free.
Yep.
Air is free. So we can bring the dog around the car. If the dog's there in the appropriate time and we have reasonable articulable suspicion, we can run the dog around any car we want to. Air is free. The dog's not going in the car. If you leave your windows open or your doors open and the dog follows odor into the car, well, that's just part of the game.
So there was a reason that the officer said, do you know where you are? Do you know what town? They're trying to get reasonable articulable suspicion. If they're just like, hey, you were swerving, can they then search your car? Obviously, we would argue no. They have no reasonable articulable suspicion that you're doing anything wrong. But none of you have IDs. You're in a town you don't know. You're in a high drug area. That's what they're trying to do, is to build that RAS to then get the dog, to then come search you. And you're a passenger, so you're standing when he consents is going down by the minute. So you
Choices. You chose to get in the car with someone you don't know where you're going, you have no clue. But I have a question. Officer McKay stopped the car. Trooper Foss happens to be in the neighborhood at Annapolis High. He's there within 10 minutes. Does he have to have a reason to get out and have the dog walk around the car? He's just there.
I mean, if you're still, I would argue if you're still detaining
He's there
for
in 10
people,
minutes and we have...
that you still have to have a reason, but he can sniff the car.
He can sniff the car. Don't need a warrant. We really don't even need reasonable articulable suspicion. If Trooper Foss pulled him over and walked up to the car with the dog, and the dog hits, it's a clean hit for us. And I mean, Tiffany and Darshan and I, we would argue it out in court, but I think most of the times I'm going to come out on the winning end of that.
What I have from 4 drivers of the vehicle is James's ID. I know where he goes to school. I have no idea where he lives. I have no idea how old he is. I have no idea if he has a license or not. He's a passenger. I'm good.
Plus, we have what, 3 that aren't ID?
3 unknown occupants.
And we have probable cause, even without the drugs, they're all going to get fingerprinted and sent to the FBI so we can identify them.
Right. And for the hour before, so my argument wouldn't be so much about Trooper Foss taking so long to get here. It's about the reasonable time of the stop. So especially since 3 of them don't have ID, it's going to take Officer McKay a while to go back and figure out who they are, where they belong, whether they're licensed to drive, whether there are any warrants. So the fact that we don't know who any of them are, the amount of time it takes him to get there is really the constitutional issue, is how long it takes for Trooper McKay to do his basic job of the traffic stop. So if he walked up, everybody had ID, everybody was cooperative, we could figure out all that information in 5 minutes, well then that hour is bad. But if it's going to take Trooper McKay an hour to sort out who all these guys are, and Trooper Foss gets there inside of an hour, that might be a little bit closer to a win for the state.
Let's change gears for 1 second. I heard a young lady over here tell me earlier about the rights at home or in your car versus the rights in your school building. Let's play this out. Let's say Officer McKay stops the car at Southern High School on the school property and finds those drugs, and we now know the drugs belong to Nick. Who said it was the school versus, let me ask you a question. We find the drugs on the school property, in that car, Nick's in the car. Can we search Nick's locker? Yes. Who said yes? Sasha. Yeah, I got a recruit for you, bro. You said yes too? Why? Great job. That class is genius over there. I love it. Listen, we're going in the locker, but let me tell you something. Nick's locker, he's sitting on it. And then there's Kobe, and then this one, and James. Are you searching one locker? Anybody? Who says one? Sorry. We're searching all four. But let's say this isn't any of their lockers. Let's say it's Taylor's locker right here. We still have Taylor's phone. We don't know it's Taylor's phone yet, but that's her locker. Can I search that locker too? Anybody say yes or no? Give me an answer. No. Who says no? Why no? Fair. I like that.
I also say no, but for a different reason.
Why?
Because there's no proper identification on the locker itself.
Fair. Dr. Arlotto, who owns those lockers?
The school system.
Huh. Weird. Weird. Hold on. The lockers are not facing forward to you, but, and I heard this, and Miss Holly calls me old, that y'all don't use lockers anymore. Is that true?
Yeah, not really.
I told you.
I use, well, anyway, are they in your building? Are they like airtight? They're zip ties. Are there vents? Can air go from one locker to another locker? Air moves, true or false. How many are you going to search? Oh, my Lord. Even though this is Taylor's locker here in the middle, she wasn't even on the scene. We don't even know her yet. We're searching that locker and this locker. In fact, we're going to bring Euro down the whole locker set and search them all. So, if you don't even know these young men and you go to Arundel High School and you happen to be there and have something in their lockers, we're searching all those lockers. You said it, they're not your lockers. You said it, no privacy in those lockers. And now it may be that Taylor's locker is not near them or not their part of them, but we're going to search them all because he said it. You don't own them. You lose that right at school. Make good decisions. I'm not saying it's good to have the marijuana at home. Don't get me wrong.
It's worse.
Don't get me wrong. Not saying that. Ms. Chester, are you still here? Yes. I know you told me that the under 21 alcohol offense is a non-expungible offense. Is the civil marijuana citation the same? Yes. Do you hear that? The answer is yes. So if you have alcohol, you're not 21, you might get a PBJ, no conviction. You have marijuana, you might get a civil infraction. It's still on your record. It means it never goes away. It never goes away. It never goes away. Never, ever. So when you apply to college and he applies to college, you play baseball? Are you any good? Are you great? What do you play? You're brave. I don't even get in the infield. I'm scared. The ball's too fast for me. He played baseball once, twice in his life. He wasn't any good either.
And I know his coach very well. If he's Southern, you play
Yes.
for Coach Kyle? All
When
right.
he applied for college and she applies for college and you have that marijuana charge, who are they going to take? Him. Better question. When you apply for college, they're going to take you, but now you have the under 21 alcohol offense on your record. You are no longer eligible for federal financial aid. Listen to me. That one joint, that sip of beer, could be the difference between you getting financial aid and going to college. They're going to see it. Miss Chester and her staff expunge things a lot. Judge Morrison gives a lot of PBJs in his day. We believe in second chances, but those small things never go away. Even if Judge Morrison gave you a PBJ for the alcohol offense, it's still on your record. And frankly, when these four get charged with the felony distribution charge, it's on your record right now. So when you're applying for school in the immediate future, it's still there. You have to go see Judge Morrison and ask for an immediate expungement. He's a busy man. He doesn't do it often. I have to let Trooper Foss and Officer McKay go back to their day work, their real jobs, or get some sleep. Before they leave, if you have any questions about Trooper Foss and Euro, Officer McKay, what they do or why they did it, if you do, raise your hand because they're happy. That's their job. Mr. Thompson, I see you, sir.
I have a question. He said that anytime air is free, so anytime you just like come to like a grocery store parking lot and say, hey, I just want to give my dog some fresh air, and you just want to use the bathroom and get on the car, is that something that someone could
Yes.
possibly?
Yes, you could. Air's free. You can most certainly do that.
There was a big case about them walking around Raven Stadium. The dogs walking around the stadium as people are walking into the game. And
I handle one of those dogs too.
yep.
But here's
We
the
do.
caveat there is that 9 times out of 10 at Raven Stadium or University of Maryland games or Skins games, when they go, Trooper Foss does not have that dog. He has his bomb dog
Right.
for those games. But you and I don't know that. And you see Euro today, but you've never met Jill. But Jill's in the truck. Jill's is a bomb dog. But he may bring Euro too. If they have intel, there's drugs there, they'll bring Euro. He can walk up to you and search you and your person and your friends. The question over here? Yes, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Abby.
How are you, Abby?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great.
Can I pay Euro?
No. I'd love to tell you yes, but no. Euro, well, tell him. Euro's, he's kind of crazy.
A little bit. He
A little
can be.
bit. His Kong, his ball is his thing. That's his thing. He only gets that when he does his job, and that's finding drugs. And I've known Euro for a lot of years now, and I don't really mess with Euro. He won't bite you, but he just wants his Kong, not anything else. Yes, ma'am.
So if one of the canine dogs sniffs your car and
Bless you.
and they see like a smell something, but you're not around your car, like you're in the store, does the owner of the dog have to alert you before they search your car?
You mean if Trooper Foss was at the Walmart where Ms. Thompson was talking about, and you're in the Walmart shopping, and he makes an alert on your dog, on your car, what are you going to do?
We'll wait for you to come out.
Thank you. And how long are you going to wait? Going to let them get in the car? Or are you going to stop them before they
Oh
get in
no,
the
we'll
car?
stop. We'll let them get to the car so we know that it's their car, and then we're gonna.
You're going to walk to your
then
car,
we'll-
put your
then
key
we'll
in,
stop.
or hit the fob, and go beep, beep, beep. He's going to say, hey, ma'am, can I see you for a minute? They ask you to come over here, sit on the curb, and they're going to search your car.
In the event, if there's like, could you still say no, or would that qualify as probable cause?
If Euro comes to your car and alerts and sits down, could you say no?
You can always say no.
You could say no. Are you going to stop?
No. The dog is probable cause.
The dog is the alert. Dog is saying that there's marijuana or black tar heroin or cocaine or something in that vehicle. And that, based on that, he'll come to court and raise his hand under oath and tell some judge, based on his training,
Don't do it.
knowledge, and experience, he's a certified canine handler. He and his lawyers will certify him as an expert in doing that. He'll leave here today, Trooper Foss will leave here today, and he won't go on the road and pull over people for traffic stops. That's not his job today. He does that a lot, but he has other things he does, and majority of that, not majority of that, a lot of that, bulk of that is training, and they train. And it's his job, his lawyer's job is to qualify him as an expert. He has to come to court and say that Euro trains, and he does things, he alerts properly, however many times he alerts. He's about 90-something still, 95?
About 95, 96%.
Go ahead.
And if the dog smells something and you say, no, you cannot search my car, and then an officer proceeds to search your car and there's nothing there, but they still take you to court, can you turn that on the officer and say that this was a false accusation?
Then you hire Mr. Kristoff in the back for a civil suit, and you sue the police department civilly.
Right.
But Officer Trooper Foss, I have a question. You search your car after Euro makes an alert, and you don't find anything, but he alerted.
Right.
Is that possible?
Yes.
Why?
Well, think about it here for a second. We'll just stick with marijuana because it's the easiest one to explain. If you're in your car and you're smoking marijuana, just because you can't smell that odor does not mean that odor is not there. Again, these dogs' noses are about 200 times more sensitive than ours. So if you smoked a week ago, how many people in here, how many of you drive? Only a couple? Have you ever cleaned your headboard? Right. So the odor can get in your seats, it can get in your headboards, it can get in the carpet, it can get anywhere. And if you don't clean it regularly, or even if you do clean it and the odor is there, the dog could smell it. So just because the dog alerts and we search and we don't find anything, it does not mean that the dog is wrong. It means that it's not there right now. But that's what we do as canine handlers after the fact, is ask people questions about their.
And if he charged you, charges are going to come to me. If there's no drug, first of all, Trooper Foss isn't going to charge if he's not finding anything. But in the odd event that you got charged, it would then come to me, where my office, where it would be screened. And if we spoke to Trooper Foss and he said I didn't have anything, you wouldn't. The odds of you making it into a courtroom under your scenario are practically zero. I would suspect are really zero.
Yeah, I would never.
We have time for one more question. Anybody have one more question? Yes, ma'am.
What would happen if somebody comes from a state where marijuana is legal and they have a license, a medical license, and your dog alerts? Can you still charge them for the state of Maryland,
Yes, because it's still illegal in Maryland.
even with a license?
You may have a medical license in Denver, Colorado, but if you're stopped in Annapolis, Maryland, with that marijuana, and you have 11 grams of marijuana, licensed in Denver, Colorado, do it any good here?
No.
No good. No good. Driving through.
No.
You're gonna get stopped, popped, charged, put in the clink.
Now, might we exercise some discretion down the road? Yes, but it's.
But as far as getting charged, you're still going to get charged.
But you're still sitting where they're sitting. Ask Nick. Nick is uncomfortable. He hates me right now. Take him out. You take him out, Officer McKay. I'm gonna let you out. All right? Are we still good? You still my friend? Colton, you still my friend? You sure? You still love me? All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta let Trooper Foss and Euro go. Officer McKay, I appreciate their time. This to me is the best part of the program because A, you learn a lot, you see a lot, you experience something that I think happens to everybody every day. If you say you don't get stopped and you're a driver, you're telling me a non-truth. Because even Judge Morris, he's been stopped driving for something. How often do you check your taillights? Never. Never. I never check my taillights. So if they're out, I don't know. It's not on purpose. But that one taillight, that one tag light could lead to that. For him, it's a choice he makes. For you, choice you make. You got in the car, 1, 2, 3, 4, don't know nobody, don't know where you are, don't know whose car it is, and you're hooked up. You're sitting on the curb, 45 minutes. It ain't fun. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time today. Thank you very much. All right, Trooper Foss, thank you very much. That's your man. It's okay, I appreciate it, bro. As always, I appreciate it. Thank you. You good? Yeah, you're fine. All right, I'll catch you later. I would like you to watch this video. Some of my friends who've been in my program before who are here have seen this video. I guarantee you, those of you who haven't seen this video, I want you to watch. This is a video about a young man. I'm going to show you the video. My good friend, Ms. Yan, who treated this young man, is here. I want you to watch this video. It's moving. If you're asleep, stand up, shake it out, wake it up. This is moving. Yeah. Stand up. You want to shake it out? Shake it out. This video is about a young man who's no different than the rest of you, all of you. He's a high school student. I won't tell you what school he's from, doesn't matter to you. He's a high school kid. He has a license and he drives. Thanks. Watch this video for me, all right?
So good morning. I was watching a lot of you from the back of the room, and a lot of you were really squirming. And that's because this is real. This is something that happens every day. This is something that happens every 15 minutes all across the United States of America. We are losing too many young people because we don't stand up and protect our kids from America's deadliest weapon, which is a car and keys. Now, I've raised 3 children, one 17, still a teenager at home, and 2 others. And I had to play it hard with them because I refused to be that father. I refused to be that mother at the bedside making the decision whether or not my child is going to become an organ donor. And that is exactly what happened when we stopped filming this. That morning, this father was waiting for me in the hallway when I came to work at 6:30, and he said, "I want you to see my son. I want you to tell teenagers what happened to him." He was a normal kid. I had just asked him, "Son, I think you're doing some things you shouldn't be doing." How many of you have had a parent say that to you? I know I've said that to my children. And usually, they would tell me what I wanted to hear. So I had to be a #1 spy and make sure I knew what they were up to, because that is what happens when a child fails to let a parent love them enough to protect them from their very, very tragic decisions. So what was going on in the car before that crash? Tell me. What was going on in that car? What was the music doing? Was it opera? No. What was it? Was it loud? Yeah, it was really loud. Did they run a stop sign? Did they stop? Who caught that? Ran a stop sign. Turned out it was a California stop. So they kind of like went through it. They thought they were okay because, you know, it was a T. And they looked really quickly. There was nothing there. But coming at the crest of the hill was a really big SUV. And it hit them T-boned. And on impact, the 2 boys in the front seat were ejected out and flew back into the car. 2 kids in the back. Well, the one girl in the back seat, she wasn't buckled. None of them were buckled except for her boyfriend. And her body hit him, breaking all of his ribs. She was the only one awake and alert at the scene. So when EMS shows up, Emergency Medical Services, they're asking her, who's in the front seat? Who's in the back seat? Who do we call? She's the only one talking. She's telling them who to call, what they were doing, that they had left school early, that they were smoking marijuana, that they were making a YouTube clip. Hello, there was a lot going on in that car. Not one of them once said, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. I think they left their brain at home that day because they were just going with the flow of things. And it cost them everything. So paramedics come and they're working on the kids in the front seat. We're going to get them out. We're going to fly them to shock trauma. We're going to get the young man out of the back seat. He'll get flown also. Sweetheart, we're going to get you out. You have to be last because we've got to get these boys out first. And while she's talking to them, she asks for something. What do you think she wanted? What would you want if you were trapped in a car and couldn't get out?
Talk to my parents.
To talk to your parents. She wanted her phone. I heard it over here. Exactly. She wanted to talk to her mom, her dad. In a crash, your shoes, they fly off. You can't find them. Your purse, forget about it. It's gone. It's somewhere in the field. We can't find your phone. And the paramedic is a young paramedic, and she says, sweetheart, I don't know where your phone is, but I do know this. We've got to get you out of this car. Just hold on a little bit longer. We're going to get you out. Don't die on me. Did I say don't die on me? She's 17 years old. She's way too young to die. But you saw this 17-year-old who's brain dead. He's never going to leave the hospital. He's going to donate whatever is left of his body to give life to another family so that his father has something to hold on to. This father was crushed. Son, I think you're doing some things you shouldn't be doing. And you don't get to redo that. You don't get to reset that button. It is not a video game. It is life. So this young girl takes a deep breath, and the paramedic knew it wasn't good. And on that deep breath, she exhales and goes into full cardiac arrest before they could get her out of that car. We had 3 patients that came that day. The driver, his best friend, and her boyfriend in the back seat. Driver died, passenger lived. He lives at home. He's fed through a tube. He wears a diaper. Mom takes care of him. He doesn't open his eyes and look at you. He watches TV, but he doesn't really notice what's on that TV. Life is very different for him. And the young man in the back seat, he survived. He is alive, he is walking, he is a success. But when you've lived through a crash where you have lost people that you love, I promise you, it never leaves you. So when I was 17, I survived a drunk driving crash. I survived a drunk driving crash. Driver, we were driving at over 100 miles an hour. She lost control of the car because the roads were wet. Slid down a really big hill, and she was killed shortly after impact. You cannot take that back. So my mission now is to educate young people that this is reality. This really happens, and it can cost you everything. For this father, it cost him everything because your parents love you. They've got your back. They're only trying to keep you from hurting yourself and becoming. They want you to be a reasonable adult that holds a job and has a successful future. And sometimes teenagers make that very, very difficult. So have a talk with your family. You only get one chance to answer that question honestly. How many of you have lost somebody in this room because of drinking and driving or speeding or drugs? Heroin's huge right now. So my 17-year-old's a fireman. He's a certified fireman. He's now in an EMT program. He goes to crashes all the time, and it infuriates me when he comes home. And I have to de-stress him with the sights and the sounds of the dying that he is taking care of. And just last night, he came home with a story. And I can't give you all the details, but I can tell you it's 6 o'clock at night, and there should not be a drunk driver on a road that hits a van full of children. But yet my son's got to pick up those pieces and try to save those lives. And why? Because we still as a society think it's okay to include alcohol and keys and a deadly weapon, or drugs, and hanging out with people that do drugs or deal drugs. So think, you guys, before you act, because you may not get another chance. I'm available to come to your high schools and do prom promise or PTA meetings. I work for a nonprofit called PAD, Positive Alternatives to Dangerous and Destructive Decisions, and we're around the whole state. Any questions? I hope I never have any of you that I'm telling a story about. I meet a lot of people. I just finished working with a young man from Washington County who killed a 14-year-old when they took a turn onto a dirt road and he rolled the vehicle. And to hear him describe the last couple of minutes of this young man's life is very sobering. And it takes a 1/10 of a second to change your world forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Are there any parents here on the field trip with their students? Anyone here? Are there any parents here who are also teachers, educators? Mr. Thompson, I saw you. I'm asking because I always watch this video from the back, never in the front, and I came in the back door as I always do. I do it on purpose. Because my friend over here met Mr. Creek this morning, and when I come to work in the morning, when I'm working in this courtroom, I like structure. I'm a creature of habit. My team will tell you that I'm here at 9 o'clock on that bench, my bottom's in the chair waiting to go. I believe in what this courtroom is and the sanctity that it is. You're learning about laws in your courtroom, in your classrooms, but I believe in the sanctity of this courtroom and how important it is. I believe that what we're doing here is business. So Mr. Creek and Mr. George are very in tune to that when they are part of the team for the day, and they make sure that when you come in the courtroom, choices are made. I'm sure Mr. George, I don't have to ask him. I know for a fact he told you that this is a real courtroom. I know for a fact told you if your phones are not off, turn them off now. Did you, Bobby?
I did, sir.
I wasn't here, but I know he did. It's important. It's important. Choices you make. Because if not, and it rings in during court, Mr. George may take your phone from you. It may cost you $50. That's really not a big issue in the big scope of things. I came in the back of that courtroom because I wanted to watch from the back to the front, because I want to watch you, your reaction to the video. You. And I won't call any names out back there, but there are adults in there who've seen the video for the first time, and there were tears in their eyes. And you students, you guys are a lot like me. When I was your age, I was invincible. I'm old and decrepit now, I get that. I was invincible at your age. I'm telling you as a son, and you know my father and mother in the courtroom, I'm telling you as a son, not as a judge, not as an adult, as a son. As a son, the worst thing that we can do as children is make our parents cry. I'm telling you right now. I've seen my daddy cry. Some mom cry, she's here. Death is not pleasant. There are sad times in our lives, but the worst thing we can do is make our parents cry. And crying at your bedside, horrific. Where are you? You got a little brother, right? I know you do. My youngest son, he's a little bit older now, but for the longest time, I joked with my family, I'm not sure he knew my oldest son's name. Because all he said is, Big Brother. That's all he did, man. That's his hero. The worst thing you can do is make your parents cry. You saw the video that Ms. Yan just showed you. You saw it. I'm not going to for 1 second think that you're not going to have fun, live the life that you want to live as high school students. I'm not encouraging you not to do that. I want you to have fun. I want you to enjoy every moment. The things they do now are awesome. The homecomings, the proms, the way they have it, the way they cater to what you want to do and how they give it to you and make it safe for you is awesome. I'm going to presume that you're all great kids. You're not smoking the marijuana, using the heroin. I'm going to presume you're not using drugs or alcohol. I presume that. We're still here for a reason. It's not drugs and alcohol anymore, just that. What is it? Ms. Yan alluded to the vehicle. I'm going to tell you a secret. If I were to ask Trooper Foss or Officer McKay, is that right there, what you're hearing? I saw you, right there, I got you, I got you. That, yes, you. I won't tell them, that right there. I'm old, so you don't see that. I don't have mine. This. I got a phone. It's an Apple. What was it, a 4? Was it? I can turn this joker on, though. There it is. I got a phone. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is the #1 killer in Anne Arundel County right now involving motor vehicles. Now, heroin's another issue. In cars, he will tell you the stats no longer say it's not DWIs anymore. It's this. It's this. Texting and driving, calling Nick on the phone. Nick, where you going to the party tonight, bro? What, you're not driving because you got locked up? Oh, my bad. It's this. I beg you, I implore, I'm begging you, please, put it down, put it away. I had lunch with Dr. Arlado 2 weeks ago, and he hit me with something that I'm on board. My son's not yet driving, but I like it. This phone goes where in your children's car when they're driving?
I told you.
Yes, car. It's a way. Because I know when it goes beep, beep, whatever your ringtone is, or your text tone, you're going to look. You're going to look? Of course you're going to look. You're on the way to the party. You're on the way to the prom, homecoming. You're going to look. You look down, what happens? I'm going to show you what happens. I'm going to show you what happens when you look at your phone. Not just Maryland, not just Anne Arundel County, all over. This team, we come together every quarter or so, and I'm not a smart guy with the phones, you know that, and there's IT guys here who are way smarter than me, and my goal is for them to one day be able to do that in this courtroom. when y'all come, your classmates who are freshmen now come in a year or so, I want to be able to do that right there in the courtroom and have your phones all pop on. I would be lying to you, and I won't tell you that I don't have my phone in my truck when I'm driving. I won't lie to you. It rings. I don't answer it. I do stop, pull over to the shoulder, and make a phone call. I'm not going to tell you a story. I have 3 kids. Something goes wrong, I got to be there. I beg you, put it away. Put it away. We're going to change gears in a moment. I'm going to ask Mr. George McSweet to shut the computer down. We're going to turn the cameras off, and I'm going to ask Mr. Adams and his staff and Ms. Holly, Mr. Carrad, we're going to go to work, and we're going to hear a few cases. The lawyers have brought some cases to court today. They're real, they're live, they're active. They're going to bring them and present them to the court momentarily. We just did 4, 5 cases quickly. And I was writing down a lot of notes I want to talk with you about. But before I get to the questions, because I want you thinking about them, I want to close the program with our presentations before we get Q&A of everybody, the entire team, with this next program. And I have a good friend who's here. His name is Zach George. And he's a buddy of mine. But he's also your peer. And Zach's going to tell you a story about his peer, his friend. His name is Elsie. I want you to listen to this story carefully because you've heard us, the older members of this team, talk. You've seen cases involving people who are your peers. But Zach is your peer. By that I mean he is not but 1 year removed, 2 years removed from high school. He's not much older than most of you. And he has a story to tell you, and I think it's impactful. I would like you to listen to it very carefully. Zach, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning.
I appreciate it.
Good. How are you guys doing today? Good. My name's Zach George. I graduated from Kent Island High School. I'm 19 years old. I've been with Kent Island Volunteer Fire Department for about 5 years now. I'm going to tell you about a friend of mine that unfortunately passed away. So first off, I'll tell you that the fire department is a really close-knit group of people. As you see here, Brathaír Thargachni is Gaelic for brotherhood above all else. So we're all a tight group. We eat dinner together almost every night. We do everything together. We're just a real tight group of people. We're like a big family. Unfortunately, one terrible April morning, we were all out playing basketball and hanging out doing our daily thing, and we got a call for a car accident. And on the way to that call, they told us that there were 4 young kids in the car and only one of them had signs of breathing. I'll tell you a little bit about Tyler first. Tyler was 2 years older than me. He was 19 at the time of the accident. He was a very good student. He graduated from Kent Island High School. He was in the fire department about a couple months more than I was. This is Tyler on one of the calls with us. That was in the newspaper one year. I remember teasing him about it, how he got like firefighter of the year for Kent Island High School, and they put him in the newspaper for it. And this picture was taken in our man cave thing where we all hang out in the summertime. These are the 4 boys, Tyler, Mike, Harrison, and Corey. They were real good friends together. They grew up together since grade school, just hanging out and running around the neighborhood like hooligans. Here's the accident that we arrived on. The silver car was driven by Tyler's friend Corey, and Tyler and Mike were in the back seat, and Corey and Harrison were in the front seat. When we arrived on the scene, initially looking at the car, once we've got everything situated, we cut the roof off of the car, standard procedure. We thought there were only 3 victims. We could only see 3 victims. There was one elderly gentleman in the black car, and fortunately he made it. He had minor injuries and he was flown to shock trauma. That was them flying him out there. Now, this accident wasn't caused by drinking and driving. They weren't on drugs, nothing like that. They were just going a little bit too fast. The police estimated he was doing approximately 90 to 100 miles an hour in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. Okay, so I hope, and I know that all of you guys love your mother and father as much as I do. And how would you feel if you got in a car accident like that and made a stupid decision just to drive a little bit too fast and your mother arrived on the scene? The woman in the purple flowered top is Tyler's mother. Paramedics were holding on to her to keep her from collapsing, hearing about the death of her son. This is the car after we got everything settled down. This side of the car here was completely crushed. The bottom door panel was touching the center console where the radio was, and there was somebody sitting in that seat. So here's the passenger door here after they had pulled it apart, and there's the radio. So they're virtually touching. There's the back seat. You can only see 2 seats there. As you guys know, the back seat of a car is 3 seats. It virtually turned the car into half the size, but all the people stayed where they were. They weren't buckled in, no seat belts, nothing like that. Here's a better picture of it. There's the bottom door panel here, and then here's the center console. And the reason I say that we could only see 3 victims when we arrived on the scene is because the one side of the car was so crushed in, it had wrapped Harrison's body into the car. We couldn't even see him, just the top of his head. It took, they wouldn't let us stay on scene because of the people in the vehicle, and they knew how upset we were, but it took them hours and hours of cutting to get the victims out of the car. There's Tyler's shoes. They were wrapped up in the door panel after the car got hit. And this is the center of the car where the transmission sits. Where I come from, Kent Island, just right across the other side of the bridge, our community is also really close too. So the death of these 4 boys really opened everyone's eyes. This is the football stadium at Kent Island High School, and it was backed all the way out to the road. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people came to support the people that were lost in this tragic accident. And they set up memorials in the field so that everybody could come and kneel around. They put 4 crosses where the 4 boys had passed away. This is one of the list of injuries that Tyler suffered through the accident. He had several skull fractures and completely severed spinal cord and brain stem, a massive brain hemorrhage, so he had a large brain bleed, broken teeth, broken jaw, ruptured heart, crushed chest, blood in his chest cavity and lungs, fractured right arm, fractured pelvis, lacerated spleen, liver, kidney, bowel, stomach. Both of his right and his left femurs had multiple fractures. His left leg was pulverized, the bone and the muscle tissue. Tyler was my size. He's 6'2", about 200 pounds. After the accident, they measured him out at 5'8". And the picture after this is kind of gruesome, so if you guys don't want to see them, put your head down, but I see Tyler after they tried to patch him up. They had to show me pictures of Tyler before the funeral because they thought they were afraid I wouldn't recognize it. And I love Tyler like a brother. And having to bury somebody that you love like that you see every single day, it's one of the worst feelings in the world. Tyler had another brother too that was a firefighter, and we still talk. His mom calls me and we talk about it, and she's probably the strongest woman that I know, because I don't know that any other woman that could be any stronger to lose a son like that and still be able to go every day and talk about it. She speaks probably, I'd say, 10 or 20 times a year to kids like you and I, trying to prevent accidents like this, just going a little bit too fast and not wearing seatbelts. April 10th was the day that we lost my best friend, Tyler Elsey. And I hope that this could help you guys and open your eyes a little bit on, it's not just drinking and driving or speeding. Speeding killed Tyler, but drinking, driving, drugs, it wasn't a factor. Just pure speed.
I always ask the team when we get together how we make it different, how we make it better, how we keep those students involved, how we keep them interested in this program so it's not the same thing. Always. And it's a democracy, and you vote, and every single time we always say we're going to end with Zach. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm a grown man, but I can't do what he does. April 10th of 2015, he stood right here and spoke to your peers from your schools. On the anniversary of Elsey's death, he presented to people like you. He bawled. His daddy right there bawled. Everybody in the courtroom cried. He said it. Elsey is like you and him, not like me. I'm grown. He's just like you. And I watched. I always watch. And those of you who are kind of bored with me and Mr. Adams and Ms. Holly and Mr. Crott, I get it. We're old. But you are all watching Elsey, and you'll watch Zach present Elsey's story. And you looked away when you saw that car. I'm not good in math, but he lost 6 inches in that accident. You looked away when you saw that picture of that casket. Let's backtrack now, start with Elsey. He wasn't high, he wasn't drunk, wasn't on his phone, wasn't even driving. Passenger in a car, going a little bit too fast. Wasn't drunk, wasn't on his phone. Where is he? You know where he is. A little bit of weed. How about my friend? Where's she? Where is she? She's back there. She's in jail. A little bit of alcohol. How about the texting video you saw? We don't know them. I'm going to invite Mr. Adams and Ms. Holly and Ms. Crowley to join me, and I want to finish discuss some questions, but I also watched you when this case came up, and I have this. And I watched over here, and I watched over here, and I'm not going to tell you a lie, I watched your reaction to this. And it's different for boys and girls. You know what's in here? What's in here? And somebody, tell me, what's in here? Photos. You know of what? Private parts. You know of who? She's still here? She is 1A or 1B to me of the courage it took to come to this courtroom today and stand in front of you. There's 1A back there, Zach. She's in here. I have it. Mr. Adams gave it to me. I taped it. I initialed it. It'll go somewhere. I don't need to look at it. But you think about it. You think about it. This could be you. This could be you. This could be you. This could be you. Taylor, it could be you. I'm not implying any of you did that. I'm not saying you would. Picture in here, send to the wrong guy.
So, you know, I go through the county and we talk about cyber safety with you guys. I've done a number of different schools. And the number one question I get and I talk mostly to 9th and 10th graders at the high school level. And the number one question I get is, well, what if we consent? Well, boyfriend and girlfriend, they were in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. And that was agreed between the two of them to give that over. And what And you heard it from her mouth. And the funny thing is that she just got up there and spoke to Judge Spencer, but I've been saying this for a year. Once she made this picture and gave it to him, did she have any control over it? Nope. You're going to trust that to, I mean, I know you all think high school relationships last forever, but they don't. And he posted it on her employer's website. And let me tell you, he posted it with her name, a comment, and there's nothing for the imagination in here. Nothing.
There's no coming back from that.
Nope.
And what was the lead charge?
Revenge porn. It's a two-year misdemeanor offense.
Dear Mr. Employer, I'd like to get a job. P.S. I have a charge. It's revenge porn. Revenge porn's my charge. Don't worry, I got a PBJ. I'm good. You think so? You think so? Come on. It's not worth it. Gentlemen, my fellas, she's beautiful. She loves you, you love her. He's an Annapolis High graduate. News to all of us in the courtroom. We were all shocked. I saw you look at me. I didn't know he was a high school graduate from Annapolis High School. We try our best not to have cases from schools who are here. We knew he was not a school student from Annapolis. We didn't know about him. So I said, fellas, let me back up. Ladies.
It's a choice.
Ladies, I'm asking, I am begging you. You are all gorgeous to me. I love you all. I don't even know you, but I love you. Don't. I don't want you to. Keep it to yourself. I have a daughter. I'm going to tell you what. She'll get married when I tell her she can get married. It ain't yet. It ain't yet.
Because, by the way, for you guys, it's not just revenge porn. It's child porn.
Why?
Because they're under 18 and under 16. For those of you under 16, it's straight out child porn. For those of you under 18, depends on the circumstances and what the picture is. Some of the pictures would qualify as child porn, some of them wouldn't. You sending your own selfie is distribution of child porn. It's a 10-year felony, 25 years registering as a sex offender. For the significant other that's getting it and just holding on to it, it's 5 years and registering as a sex offender for 10 years. For what he did, had she been under 18 or under 16, need to be under 16 for this picture, he would have distributed child porn by just posting it up on that Facebook. So in addition to the revenge porn, he'd been facing a more serious felony. Your age matters for these things. You guys, it's not right. And it's a choice. We talked in the beginning about making a choice. Ladies, gentlemen, you can make a choice as to where you direct your camera to. The good choice, I don't know if we need to say what the good choice is. You have a first-hand experience of it. Because it's not yours. I don't care how much he loves you. I don't care how much he is just the guy you're hanging with and not your boyfriend. Once you get rid of it, it is not yours. Once you post it, it's not yours.
It all comes back to where we started. It's all about choices. It's all about choices. We're not going to ask you to not have a great time. I want you to enjoy every last second of your high school career, and then leave and go to college. Leave, go to trade school. Leave, go serve the military, join the armed forces, join law enforcement, get a job, do whatever it is. Join the family business. Do whatever it is you want to do, but do that. You choose. You choose. There are several folks here today who you've seen, you've met, you saw, who don't get to choose. Who don't get to choose. Don't be them. My man right here, I saw you earlier, I liked your shirt and tie. You chose that, right? Your mom didn't choose that for you, right? You did or did not? You did. It's a conscious choice. I noticed these things. Those choices matter to me. I knew, based on seeing that, you knew you were coming to court, you're prepared, because you want to make a good first impression. My man right there with the blue tie. I like the blue tie because I have blue. Normally I make fun of him because he always wears red.
That's why I chose to wear a blue and yellow one
I knew you were
today.
going to say that. I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
I did. That's what I got up thinking.
I chose blue because I needed to wear red. I had to counterbalance his red. I chose blue. There are folks today who you saw, who you met, who didn't choose what they're wearing. Do you remember them? Anybody help me out? Who said something? Who?
Who?
Who said that? What did you say over there? I can hear you.
Inmates.
Inmates. Yes. Not chose what she's wearing. She had that clothes on today. Right now, know what she's doing? She's changing her clothes. All of them. All of them. You know what I'm saying? Let me be crystal clear to you. Blue shirt, blue tie. I got blue socks on. My drawers are blue. You don't care, do you? I care. Miss is not choosing her underwear right now. She's getting government-issued underwear. Who else didn't choose? How about Elsie? Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I hear you, ma'am.
The officer didn't choose, he asked you, it's his uniform.
Trooper Falls probably chose his BDUs because he's going to train today. Will you hold that? True. He could wear a long sleeve if he wanted to, though. Who else? How about Elsie? Did he choose? Remember Elsie?
Yeah, he made a choice.
Who chose his shirt? The one you saw, the last one. No. Zach chose. Ken Island Volunteer Fire. They chose his shirt. He didn't choose his shirt. He had no say in the matter. He had no say. Who chose clothes? Yeah, shock trauma. What's he wearing? Last time we saw him wearing a gown. You saw him sucking the snot out of his feeding tube in his throat. You all looked away. But he didn't choose his gown. Shock trauma did. The nurses chose. Is it Mr. Whitlock? Is that right? Yes.
Yeah.
Who chose his clothes tomorrow?
DOC.
I did. I chose. I chose jail. Means an orange jumpsuit. Again, not his own underwear and not his own socks. Actually, he won't get socks. He has on slips, slides. I call them slides, flip-flops.
What about taking a shower or anything like that?
Not recently. You go to jail, you don't shower when you want. You shower when they tell you to. And for guys, it's worse for us than them because there's more of us there than there are ladies. We shower when the guards tell us we can shower. I chose to shower this morning. I chose to shave this morning before I came to court. I chose to put on my belt. Choose. You choose. Because if you come here through that door with one of them, you're asking me to choose. You are then asking me to choose for you what I should or should not do. You understand what that means? Skip them. Skip him. You choose. Don't let, as he said, shock trauma choose what you wear. Not a good choice. They choose not choosing your clothes. Now, we're going to end momentarily because I'm already running late. Before we end up, do you have any questions at all you want to ask about the cases the lawyers just handled, what they did and why? One over here, Wes.
What is a PBJ?
Mr. Adams.
It's called a probation before judgment. What it means is that your guilty conviction is not yet enrolled. And what enrolled means it's not on your record just yet. You heard the judge talk about a period of probation. So during the course of your probation, as long as you satisfy it, what happens is at the end of your probationary period, that guilty verdict gets stricken, like you've never been found guilty before. And that is a way that Judge Spencer and the court system has devised to give people, especially in some of the lower offenses, a chance to make things right, make it through probation. Sometimes it involves community service, paying fines, but it's a way to make sure that someone learns a lesson, but maybe doesn't damage them for the rest of their adult life.
And they can walk out as long as they don't violate probation and say they don't have a conviction. That's a factual statement, right. But you got to complete probation. For some of them, it meant jail as well. Some of them, it's treatment. Ms. Holly's client, that was Ms. is doing treatment. I don't know if you heard, but she's in treatment, and it's a 26-week program. She's not much older than you. She's a 3-year-old and a job, times 2. But she has no conviction. She has an issue that she addressed, a problem she got out in front of, and getting drug treatment. That's important.
It's sort of a way for us to do justice in a criminal justice system without really saddling you with, or saddling somebody with something debilitating. Gives us a chance to help somebody make a change.
Jail's not always the first go for us. Not for me.
No.
We all make mistakes, all of you. Me, them. Every adult in here makes a mistake every day, I'm sure of it. And I believe in a second chance. I believe you deserve a second chance, sometimes a third chance. But I also believe you need to stand up and own the mistake and make it right.
By the way, my choice is I don't always believe in a second chance. I think some of the things are bad enough up front that you should go to jail.
You agree with that, right?
That's the difference between how we advocate. And what I do as a trial lawyer and an advocate, my focus is a little different. Judge Spencer, he gets to make the choice. I argue for my choice. Tiffany and Darshana argue for their choice. But we, that's sort of our roles in the criminal justice system.
What would happen if they were lying about Ms. Nick said that she was getting help? What happened if she was lying?
Well, if she can't provide proof, then Judge Spencer would issue a warrant to bring her back in for a violation of probation. I would certainly stand here and remind Judge Spencer that she lied to him, and I think I know what his choice would be.
If you give me your word, I've never met you, but I accept your word on your face as a young adult to be true and accurate to me. And I'm gonna give you a second chance. And you may have heard me say, I invite you proof to Ms. Holly. I worked with Ms. Holly long enough to know that she knows what that means. That's lawyer speak, lawyer to lawyer. What's that mean to you?
I'm going to provide proof. I'm going to harass her if I have to. She's going to give me completion of her 26-week program. I write a letter to the court and I submit the proof, because if not, she violates her probation.
And probation is a privilege in my mind, kind of like driving and using your phone. And if she doesn't give it to Ms. Holly to give it to me, I'm going to turn around one day and ask Ms. O'Day, who's the clerk back here, to issue a warrant for someone's arrest. And they'll get arrested for not just turning in a piece of paper. Oftentimes, community service. We had a case that was a protective order, and I don't know if you guys heard the facts that we brought in, but there was a mother and a daughter. You know why mom's here? Who heard it? Yes, ma'am.
Didn't she say that she was gonna turn off her daughter's phone and her daughter came in her room and spat on her?
Is that an assault?
Yes.
A criminal offense?
Yes.
For her phone? That her mom owns and pays for?
Yep.
That's okay? Humbling for a mom to be here. Yeah. The police were called. I don't know, and today's not my business, if the daughter was charged. But the spitting in your mother's face, skip disrespect is a crime. And in my house, I'd be praying, hopefully, if I was alive. Disrespectful, I agree. Unacceptable, and a myriad of other words. But when it gets to his office, that intentional spitting in someone else's face is an assault upon which she can be charged.
Maximum penalty of 10 years.
For a phone that you don't own.
Judge Spencer, if I can, sometimes we always like to ask, I know we're running short on time, but if a lot of you come and you see a lot of what we do, Darshan and I, we're public defenders, Wes is the state's attorney, but if anyone had any questions about how we got where we are, if we enjoy what we're doing, questions about our jobs, you can ask that as well.
James.
From a judge's point of view, is it for somebody else, is it they're innocent until they're proven guilty, or guilty until they're proven innocent?
That's like the fundamental question of our criminal justice system.
We are all innocent. We are all innocent. He has a job to do. He has to prove that that person is guilty of the offense. I may think that that person is guilty of the offense, that they are done and they did the offense. It's their job to make sure he proves it. He can't walk in and say, you know what, Judge? There's weed. We got it. They're good to go. Put them in jail. Right? No. She's going to stand up. He's going to stand up and say, it was a bad search. They waited there an hour and a half for that dog to get there. That's an unconstitutional search. That's their job. Their job is to make sure he does his job right. We can't presume they're guilty because they're charged and locked up. We often say in these courthouses, in these courtrooms, that lawyers, officers, troopers make mistakes. It's okay to make a mistake. His job is to prove that everything was done, crossing the T's and dotting the I's. If not done, I'm going to find him not guilty.
So if you remember, after the lawyers spoke to the defendant about advising them of their rights, Judge Spencer turned to me and asked me for a statement of facts. Every crime is made up of certain, we call them elements, things that I have to prove. So when I read through my statement of facts, what they do is they check off the elements. So for example, harassment, what the last gentleman pled to is a course of conduct over time. So you heard me say about a course of time from July 2nd to November 2nd. And a course of conduct means repeatedly doing things. And so you heard me talking about how they went back and forth and there were multiple text messages and multiple threats in person. That is what constitutes a course of conduct. And that's harassing or upsetting or can cause distress to somebody, which is posting it up on the Facebook. So when we read our statement of facts, I had to give him, the judge, a number of facts that would allow him to find the person guilty. So that's how the whole process works.
We appreciate your time. I know we're running late. Thank you for coming in, and we'll see you next time.